Welcome to Election Night 2 here on Lessons for Life. Omar X didn't think he'd have to do this for at least another 4 years, but here we are 24 hours later doing it again. And Mac is back as well, return of the Mac. Gentlemen, how are you feeling, and did you get enough sleep last night?
Well, I was very excited. I watched your show till the early morning and expecting for some sort of conclusion, but I was none the wiser, as they say. I've changed my opinion. I at first didn't particularly care. Living in the UK, I didn't particularly care who wins it or who loses. But now, for some reason, I'm starting to lean towards Biden, and one of the reasons is Black Lives Matter. The hell that Black people and perhaps even people of different colors have gone through in the USA. I've realized that the vice president, and I guess I knew this before, but I just didn't register this until very recently, within the last maybe 5-6 hours. I thought, hey, she's Black and she's of color and she's Indian, and I think she may even be Muslim. Let's give these people a bit of a chance, let's get them up there. And I've started to lean. I'm not saying I'm supporting Biden, but I'm leaning towards him, I have to say.
I don't know what religion Kamala Harris is, but I don't think she's Muslim. Is she not of a Hindu background on her Indian side? But we'll work that out. Maybe Mac knows. Mac, do you know much about Vice President Kamala Harris, possibly the next president?
I honestly
she was introduced as such. No problem. Yeah, are we all coming round to the idea that it is going to be Joe Biden? I think everyone apart from Donald Trump is starting to accept that fact. In the late hours last night, we actually went the wrong way when it became very, very likely. All the signs from paddypower.com were pointing to a second term for Donald Trump. But then as the votes continued to be counted, even though Donald Trump didn't want them to be counted, the reality hit. Yes, Mac.
Last night I was trying to look for your channel. I didn't manage to catch it live, but I did catch Joe Rogan live as well.
Oh, they didn't block him, but they blocked me.
Yeah.
You were watching Joe Rogan instead. Can't believe it.
Well, yeah, but they were talking about how because some people have done it by post, they still have to wait possibly to the end of the week to actually get the full results. But it is 50-50. But the other thing that I've seen is a Vice documentary about how Trump can actually at any time there's certain things that Trump can do to try and gain his second term. Now,
on a technicality,
yeah. I mean, like I said, they're kind of in a position of war with Iran anyway. So if he accelerates that war, and that would mean that he would serve the second term as well, wouldn't it?
Are they at war with Iran? I've been billing Trump as the first president in a long time who didn't start any new wars, but of course he did assassinate General Soleimani. That was an act of war carried out by America on Syrian soil, but it was a continuation of the war that Barack Obama started against Syria.
Yeah, I mean, to be sorry to interrupt both of you, but I'm just wondering, all of these things that are happening, like even in Liverpool, if you've noticed that with the corona situation, it's a bit excessive. They got the military out there, they're testing everyone, and the world is just it's just going, it's unexplainable.
Yeah, all this focus on America has somehow distracted us from the fact that we are going into lockdown at midnight tonight. We've got 45 minutes left. If you want to pop round, Mac, you can. But make sure you're gone by midnight, just like Cinderella. In the chat, someone whose name I cannot read, unfortunately, is saying Trump for prison. Why? What crime has Trump committed that might get him in prison, like he said he would do to Hillary Clinton and then never did? Do you want to have a listen to what Biden has said so far? Because he's not actually making a victory speech yet, but he has made a speech that was sort of a precursor to a victory speech, and he's being very sort of magnanimous and saying, well, I'm going to be a president for all, not just for my team. Let's have a little listen.
Well, let me begin by thanking the press for being here and thanking everyone else. My fellow Americans, yesterday once again proved that democracy is the heartbeat of this nation. Just as it has been the heartbeat of this nation for 2 centuries. And even in the face of pandemic, more Americans voted this election than ever before in American history. Over 150 million people cast their votes. I think that's just extraordinary. And if we had any doubts, we shouldn't have any longer about a government of, by, and for the people. It's very much alive in America. Here, the people rule. Power can't be taken or asserted. It flows from the people. And it's their will that determines who will be the president of the United States, and their will alone. And now, after a long night of counting, it's clear that we're winning enough states to reach 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report that when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners. With all the votes counted, we have won Wisconsin by 20,000 votes, virtually the same margin that President Trump won that state 4 years ago. In Michigan, we lead by over 35,000 votes, and it's growing. A substantially bigger margin than President Trump won Michigan in 2016. Michigan will complete its vote soon, maybe as early as today. And I feel very good about Pennsylvania.
Very good about Pennsylvania. Triple T, you're a orator. How do you rate that speech?
For where he was, the speech was perfect. It wasn't too ingratiating. It wasn't too offensive. It was correctly magnanimous, and it was a good speech. He said everything and he said nothing at the same time.
Yeah,
and but he's right. It's all about Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, once again, even according to Sky News, is just too close to call. So it's going to be a long night, to say the least. Not sure which way it's going, but you keep on mentioning Paddy Power.
Yeah, we're sponsored by them. They're a bookmakers.
Yeah, I know you're sponsored by them, but
bookmakers.
Paddy Power changed their mind, and they're
the
so
direction
huge.
of travel.
They're so huge that even if they lose, I think they still win, in the sense that I remember when England was in the major European finals and in the World Cup, and when people betted for England and England lost, or Ireland even lost, they'd say, "Hey, we'll give all your money back." What they were really doing.
Yeah, the drug dealer always offers you heroin for free the first time. You know?
Absolutely, and that's what they did. So that's what Paddy Power's doing. They're just giving us all these numbers, 3 to 1, 1 to 3, and all sorts.
On the nose.
And you're right.
Yeah.
If we were gamblers, and if I took your advice from yesterday, I would be a very rich man.
We could have cleaned up if you'd hedged your bets, you could have bet on one team at one point and another on another, and you would have been guaranteed a win. But don't gamble, kids. It's not good. Just going back to Biden, I wonder when these people, do you think he's been to sleep, or has he been up all night? When does he get the chance to catch 40 winks on a night like that?
No, I think he wouldn't. He looks sleepy even on a good day.
Sleepy Joe.
Slow, that's right.
But he's done an all-nighter, hasn't he?
He must have, but his age, I think he's 73 or something. I think
he's 77.
77. I'm sure at that age, you just want to get to bed at times and just have a hot cocoa and watch Netflix.
In my day, we didn't call it Netflix, but we had a TV, and when it was a color TV, we only had one in the whole street. He always sounds like an uncle telling stories about the old days.
He does. And Mac was right to mention Iran. I think if anyone's going to take us to war, this guy may well. It's very aggressively talking about Iran. And, Iran is no small country. They have weapons that can cause mass destruction through many cities. They can't win, but they can cause major destruction if it goes that far. And I really hope he doesn't. I hope he was just saying that to get the Trump voters voting for him. One last thing I'll say, Mac mentioned Joe Rogan. I was watching him, and I was an avid fan of his and an ardent supporter. And I realized that the guy, just like Trump, I suppose, just goes with the flow. Joe goes with the flow. When he had the atheist leading the prophet of atheism, his name is
Dawkins?
Richard
Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that program or that podcast, I should say. He's sitting there and he's talking to him and he's agreeing with everything is said. He's saying, yes, of course, there's nothing, and there cannot be anything in when we die. It's going to go black, and then that's going to be the end of it. Now he sits and talks
Darwinism.
with Joey Diaz or whatever his name is, and his response is, how does anyone know once we're dead? Anything. We could be zapped like Wi-Fi and we could go to a different dimension and life would carry on. And I find that very hypocritical. These were the points that he should have made to his guest when the guest was seated in front of him. He should say, look, I think this. Instead, he acquiesced and capitulated.
He usually does.
No.
He actually, because I've seen him. I've seen him with certain people, but he doesn't want to bump heads, but he plays the neutral part. But he got Elon Musk on this show as well. I mean, these people come on. He's not gonna force his opinion on them. He's gonna try and get as much as information out of them, or getting them to discuss the relevant.
If I believe that there's nothing after this life, if there is no afterlife, and the leading person is,
can I make an argument for that? Can I make an argument for that? All right. When you close your eyes, when you speak to yourself, when you say your name, like when you close your eyes and you say your name, you could even see it in a color. You can vision it in a specific font in a color. Where is that place? When you think about your childhood, like you close your eyes, that inner place is your reality. Why I say that is because we are attached to this 3D, aka 4D world, which is this up, down, left, right, and the fourth being that the dimension of time, right? So there's 4 dimensions. As soon as you wake up, your eyes, as soon as you blink, you're in this 4D dimension. You understand? So you're forced out of that. This is why in Islam or certain meditations, they get you to go to detach yourself and try and basically go into that zone where it's a trance. Again, Edgar Cayce went through this. This is where KRS-One calls it the 5th dimension. They talk about up, down, left, right, but they never talk about in or out of dimension. And what I mean by in or out of dimension is when you close your eyes, you're going back into your own dimension. But when you open your eyes, does that make sense? So when you die, these eyes, these ears, this mouth, when it goes into the grave, that goes to the grave. But when you close your eyes, that still inner being continues on.
Well, what I will say after such strong words is that I think you may be referring to sleep. And in Islam, they say that sleep is the younger brother of death or something along those lines. So I think you're referring to that, the dreams that we have. I think what you're suggesting or what you're insinuating, that the reality is that dream that we have. So perhaps when we're
it's a different dimension. Like I said, you go up, down, left, right.
But then
back,
maybe
forth.
there's a different dimension to the dimension that you're mentioning. Maybe there's a different dimension after that.
That's the whole point. That's what I'm saying. The dimension that you close your eyes.
So which is the last dimension? Which is the last one, or is there no last one?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If all these 3D, because as soon as you wake up, you use your eyes, you use your ears, you use your nose, you use your mouth. When all of this goes to grave, But when you're thinking about your past, as soon as you smell something, you remember like back in 2 years ago, you had this smell or this food that you tasted. But the point is, when you reminisce, where is that place that you're actually reminiscing? That's
it's in your
where
brain,
I'd
isn't
say,
it? Is
no,
it not just located in the brain?
It's called your actual being. That's your internal actual
it's
being.
called your memory bank.
Existence, your actual existence. So it's nothing to do with religion. This is your actual inner existence. This is the place where you can talk to yourself. You can not only talk to yourself, but because when you talk to yourself internally, you don't use this mouth and you don't use this ears to hear. You hear it internally. So that internal dimension is an in and out dimension. Like I said to you, 3D dimension is up, down, left, right, back, forth. But you're not going in or out of dimension. They don't mention that to you. So this is where the spirit world, as you say, come out of this 4D dimension, and we cannot see it. But what I'm trying to say is something like you're in a state of trance. Now, even they say Rasulullah, when he was getting his revelation from Jibril, he was getting it in a state of like a trance. He wasn't. Have you heard this or not? Have you heard this or no? Apparently, when the Prophet was receiving the revelation, he was not a state of seizure, but it was difficult for him to receive it. So he would be in a state of trance, aka not in this realm. So this is where I talk about being in the 5th dimension realm, where if these ears and these mouths go into the grave, what remains is your inner being, your actual internal being. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand, but what is that internal being? What is that? And is there a dimension after and before the dimension? Do we just carry on till eternity or till doomsday or whenever it is or whatever it is?
Well, there'll be resurrection to the day of resurrection. To the day of resurrection, which in Christianity and Islam we believe in that day. Even in the Hebrew belief, it's the same as well.
Well, let me pose this
so
to you.
All major. Sorry, well.
Resurrection. Some people lose their limbs. Some people are burnt. Some people are severed, and they have terrible ends. And even if we were to go to the graves right now, there's in some graves there's hardly any bones. The resurrection, how will that take place when all the body parts are desiccated?
Have you seen Jurassic Park? Have you seen Jurassic Park, Omar? You only needed one strand of DNA to clone a whole body, right? Replicate the whole thing.
Well, yeah. But the thing is, let me explain something to you. This occurrence, this miracle has occurred already in the biblical term. There was a state where Moses apparently, or should we say, I think it might be, where he asked God to reveal himself on a mountain, and God revealed like a particle of himself, but he had 50 people, witnesses with him. Now, everyone obviously couldn't stand the power of God, and everyone died, including, Moses passed out. When he came round, or when he came to conscience, he said to God, he made a prayer. He said, I need these 50 witnesses to come back to life. And there was another one about where he split 3 chickens, and then he put them in 3 different parts of the mountain. And eventually, the miracle of God was he brought the chicken back together. So there are all of these. Even Prophet Saleh, who the camel came from the mountain. All of these miracles are possible. So you say that people are mutilated or butchered.
If it's possible, then how is it a miracle? Is a miracle not doing the impossible?
Well, I can't prophesize from only what I've researched. They say that even they say, judge on the red day of resurrection, if you've had abortions or that child will come and obviously say, why did you do this, or why did you? Do you see what I mean? So there is those factors maybe that you've got to take.
Some people say that, yeah. Okay. In the chat, going back to Trump, Owen Keeling is suggesting that Trump got 283 electoral college votes, so he has won. He tweeted about it, but the media won't report it. Well, we've just reported it here. I can tell you guys, great news, 4 more years. But Jen Wallace is saying, good evening, Biden. Biden is up to 264 now. Where's that gone? Yeah, Trump is at 214. It's 270 to win. It's literally riding on Nevada's 6 electorals. PSV Eindhoven saying Trump is done. And
done as in got it, or he's gone?
Think finito. The Loch Ness Groiper saying, who else is on the Trump train? Let's get this MAGA party started. Dear. No, I think Trump is finished. Jen Wallace saying media won't report it because it's not finalised yet. Sorry, Mac. What's your question?
Have you ever Googled? This is a comedian, Maz Jobrani, told me. He goes, Google, fart in England, and this comes up, which basically says in England, Trump means fart. I didn't know this.
There you go, bullying someone because of their name. That's not very nice, is it?
Well, he deserves it, some may say.
Yeah,
well, it's a lingo.
Yeah, so he does. He's. Is he going to walk? Is he going to go? Is he going to go away nicely, or is he going to get the Proud Boys out and fight for everything that he can hang on to the presidency with?
You know, I was telling you. Sorry, go
on. His son stated today that this is the votes are rigged, so it's going to be interesting. He's also got 11 more weeks in power, and he has 3 people which he nominated and who he's affiliated with in the Supreme Court. So if this gets
that's true.
Court, can something turn around? Surely they'll be
Amy Coney Barrett. Yeah, and it's been a long time. Here's a quick question: who was the last candidate or president not to receive a second term? Who was the last candidate not to win a second term?
Well, not to was Bill Clinton, last one.
I think did Bill Clinton not receive a second term? Bill Clinton.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Not.
He did. Yes, he did.
Did he?
He wasn't. He wasn't impeached. He didn't lose the presidency over that woman. I did not have sexual relations with Miss
Yes,
Lewinsky.
you did.
Well, this is Bill. This is Bill Clinton. I've been watching Lessons for Life for quite a while now. Like your live stream.
You can prank someone with that.
I don't call in because it's a long distance call, but I watch him every night. He sent me a voice message. He said he wasn't going to leave the office. It will be funny to see him get dragged out.
I've heard that. I've you know what? I watched The Vice because the thing is, as Omar just mentioned, and I agree with this, until the inauguration of Biden, he still has access to anything, so he can just.
What can he do? Will he go to war so that he's president for life?
Well, is that what you're theorizing? Into a dictatorship.
You can force a dictatorship, yeah, as Omar X said.
Yeah, I mean, he has the power, he has the money, but there's something strange about Trump. I can't understand why a man who is a trillionaire, whatever he is, why would he even want to be president? He's not comfortable in front of the camera like Obama was. And
he's not qualified.
Maybe that's the thing. He saw someone like Obama who was suave, sophisticated, bombed and killed a hell of a lot of people, by the way, murderer. But he had a silver tongue and he was so popular. And for all his money, wouldn't someone like Donald Trump look at Obama and get jealous and say, I want that. I can't buy it with my money.
I don't know. I don't know if he would. I mean, sounds very childish. And maybe he never.
Do you not think childish describes Donald Trump? Jen Wallace is saying he wants power. Yeah, there's something that money can't buy. or
megalomaniac.
Yeah.
But money can buy power. You can't.
It can buy power and influence. That is why we like money, because it wields power. But
respect and power.
What has more power than money is prestige and titles and accolades. PSV Eindhoven saying it's power. Money doesn't do it any more. Yeah. So maybe he just wanted to be powerful, like Jafar on Aladdin. Great film, by the way.
Well, the irony is he already was powerful. I mean, look at the unbelievable amount of money, copious amount of money. He can literally do anything.
Was he really as rich as he made out? I think he exaggerated a lot.
Well, his dad left him. His dad made the empire, it was his whole dad that left him. Basically left the whole empire, the whole trade, even to him. Like if it wasn't for his father, because he even tried to say he only got £1 million off his father to start with.
My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
Yeah,
that was laughable, obviously. But to the rich, they live on a different planet. They have a different concept of money, don't they? Gentlemen, we're going to go back in time now. In your mind, we're going to do something I like to call regression therapy, as we get a little bit esoteric and go to that place that Mac spoke about, deep inside the soul. And let's test your memory banks. First fingers on buzzers, or first one to shout out the correct answer. Who was the president before Donald Trump?
Are you serious? Obama.
Come on. Obama. 1 point to Mac. What party was he from?
He was a Democrat, I think.
Correct. Come on, Omar, you're trailing behind here. Omar's more into EastEnders and that sort of thing. Okay. Who replaced Grant Mitchell as... I'm joking.
Phil Mitchell.
Phil Mitchell. Who was his brother? Yeah. Bit of East
I got that
politics
too as well. So that's free.
Get out of my pub. Who was the president before Barack Obama?
George Bush. Wasn't it?
Oh look, we've got Jen Wallace is joining the quiz as well. Yes, correct. George Bush. What team did he play for?
He was the Republican. No,
Republican. Yes, he was. How many terms did he serve?
2.
2. Who did he beat when he ran for presidency?
Oh, you got me on that one.
It's the great mathematician. The great mathematician, Al Gore Rhythm.
Oh, yeah. How can I forget?
He beat Al Gore the first time, and the second time round, who tried to oust him from the Democrats? Do you remember?
Wasn't
remember that part?
Could have been what's that guy's name?
It was a John. No, McCain was Obama. McCain was the Republican candidate for the first time Obama won it, and the second time it was Mitt Romney, very forgettable candidate.
Yeah.
But the second term was clinched for sorry, who are we on? George Bush.
Yeah.
When he defeated John Kerry of the Democrats. Real name John Cohen, apparently, originally. His ancestors changed his name to sound Irish, but they were actually from Hungary. Who was the president before?
And can I say sorry to interrupt, the irony is that many Irish were changing their names.
Yes, actually, you're very correct. Lots of Mac and O's dropped the first letters of their name to try and become more anglicized. Who was the president prior to? Yeah, there's Brian Cannattell. He knows all these little bits of trivia. President prior to George Bush. It was another two-term president. We just had him on the show 2 minutes ago.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton, the saxophonist, who famously did not inhale or have sexual relations with that woman. He was a two-term president. Yeah.
Yeah.
From 92
How
to
embarrassing
2000.
for the poor guy. How embarrassing
So,
to get caught.
You know, Lewinsky's still got her dress, apparently.
Really?
Apparently.
Wow. Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to blame him for what he did, but it's interesting. His fault is saying vehemently, "I did not do this." Why say I did not do this? Just say yes, I did it, and I think it would have been okay.
It was the hand gesture, isn't it?
He got 2 terms anyway. Is that
Yeah,
the
but I mean that's ignominy on the highest level. I don't know how he could show his face in America. I'm not sure where he is, but that's embarrassing.
What did he do to try and distract us all from it? Launched a war. And he was involved in many wars through NATO. And as much as I've said it before, I'm a man of the left. It pains me to admit that the Democratic Party have been the war party more so than the Republicans. But I mean, it's the nature of the beast. That is what America does. It goes to war, it would seem. Since the Second World War, it has become...
It's a war factory.
It's a war factory, exactly. And whether you vote red or blue, we seem to get more of the same. Okay, prior to Bill Clinton, there was a one-term president. So who did Bill Clinton ousted someone in the middle of their presidency? Who was it?
He was thingy. He was
George Bush Senior.
Impeached.
There's a point for Omar. George Bush Senior. Yeah, George H.W. Bush, member of the Skull and Bones Society. So, and it's amazing that you had, father and then son with only one president in between them, and then you almost had Jeb Bush.
Aren't they second cousins with the Queen as well?
Yes, almost every presidential candidate has shared some kind of distant. I mean, I know we're all related, and the Queen is descended from the Prophet of Islam, by the way. So if you're distantly related to the Queen, maybe you're distantly related to the Ahlul Bayt as well. I'm not sure.
George Bush as well.
we talk about bloodlines and powerful families. Definitely, the Bushes. Definitely the Clintons. We nearly had Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, nearly Clinton again, and you've got a Jeb Bush running for it. I believe Chelsea Clinton is already talking about running for the presidency. So you can understand why someone like Donald Trump comes in from as if from off the beaten track, outside of mainstream politics, and he was a one-term president. It seems. Are we ready to call it? Is anyone going to put their money where their mouth is and say this is it? Joe Biden has got it. You can still get the 1 to 9 odds on Paddy Power. If you've got $9,000 and you're feeling confident, you can buy yourself £1,000 sterling cash, available in all good bookmakers. Jeb was the governor of California.
So if I go bet right now on Biden, I'll make money, you say?
Yeah, I mean, I suggest
you would, but don't do it. But you'd have to lay out a hell of a lot of money. You'd have to risk a lot for very little reward, because he's all but home and hosed.
I was an addicted gambler for a whole decade.
Oh well, we don't want to get you back into it, Triple T.
So so my advice to anyone out there is best to stay away from any gambling. And I think in Islam, I heard a beautiful saying. Somebody told me about Islam that they say that what's bad in large quantities is bad in small quantities. And I thought, wow, that's so correct when you talk about people who smoke and even cigarettes. No one starts off with an addiction. We're all started off. So I was someone who's smoking 40 a day. So everyone starts off with a little fag and little drag, and then you go from there. And what's fascinating about cigarettes is, I'll share this with you. I don't know if there's any smokers out there, but when you start off smoking, immediately you start coughing. It's a natural thing. Now the body is telling you that, look, don't do this.
Once you get used to it,
you force yourself to like it. Nobody likes
Oh,
smoking.
are you talking about the initial stages?
Yeah. You as a smoker know this. When you first started smoking, when you take a drag, you cough. It's only natural. And after that, why do we like cigarettes? There's nothing. What is there? We're forcing our body to like it.
Chemical.
And then
it's chemical in the brain.
After a while, the body becomes addicted to it. Now, if you were to stop for a month, what would happen? Once you take a drag again, you take a drag of a fag, and you're back on. The same thing. You're gonna start coughing, and then you're gonna force yourself to like it, and then you'll be back to square one. So, and I think it's the same thing with alcohol. Take a little bit of booze, and you just think, okay, it's fine. Before you know it, that little bit won't hit you as much, and you start taking a bit more and a bit more, and there's so many people.
Sorry to interrupt. The best, actually, I think the best for me is Russell Brand. He had a discussion, I think, with the government even here, and he was trying to explain, because he was a heroin addict, and he's now completely clean. So he wanted to present his case, saying that people that are addicted, it's a form of illness, so they shouldn't see it as a criminal offense. They should try and, because like places, I think he was saying Switzerland, I can't remember exactly where they've allowed they've decriminalized heroin. So now there's not really that many people that are addicted there. Do you see what I mean? So and even in, like, if you look at Holland, Amsterdam, when the actual Dutch people, they don't really smoke. It's only people that go to Amsterdam are the ones that smoking. You see what I mean?
No, I think, with weed, what I'll mention about weed, if I may, is that when I was growing up, I would smoke now and again, take a little bit of weed here and there. I was very fortunate that I had an experience which changed my life. I was 17 years old, and I remember these cool kids from the colleges were smoking, so I just took a drag off them, and I sat back in my car, and then later on I was to learn that it wasn't just weed that sprinkled, I don't know, cocaine or something else there too. It was skunk and it was other activities, but either way they had something which I took in. I sat back in the car as a young 17-18-year-old, and as I drove, within a minute I just could not feel my legs. So can you imagine doing 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, or whatever it was, and you can't feel your legs? That was enough.
I hope you were driving an automatic.
No, I wasn't. So I could not feel even if I was, I would still need to brake, I guess, even if I had an automatic car. But that was enough to deter me and keep me away and never partake in that. But those friends that were smokers of weed and other drugs of that nature, 20, 30 years later now, if I spoke to them, there is a 1 second or a 2 second delay sometimes when I ask them a question. And you may notice that with your friends too. So I think even though they've allowed marijuana out there, I don't see marijuana as a good thing unless you have joint pains, and then maybe have it as a cake or whatever. But if to socialize, have marijuana, no, I strongly recommend people stay away from them.
Recreationally, you're right. But if it's for medicinal uses, then that's fine. I agree. I agree with that. But recreational ones, obviously, it doesn't make sense. But going back to Russell Brand, he elaborates, saying even people in that position that are addicted, they need help. There's a reason why they want to get high or they want to get drunk, because they think that. I mean, there's another saying that I've heard, which was, with a spiritual problem, there's no chemical solution. Or for a spiritual problem, there is no chemical solution. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what. Yeah.
And also, you mentioned heroin. Isn't it interesting? Why would someone take heroin in the first place? What would happen?
Pain. It's pain, and this is the point that Russell Brand was trying to say. You need to go to the root cause of why he wants to escape, drink, or put himself in that state to not remember. There must be an issue in his reality. Life. Yeah, exactly. So you need to find out what the reason is he's trying to.
No, but we can know the reason could be, I can't find a job, or I just don't like.
But
my
like
wife,
you said,
million...
if you take something for 30 days in a row, you naturally become addicted to it, like the cigarette. At first, you don't like it, but after a few puffs, you start getting used to it. So that's the idea. Now, this is why I think in Islam they say in Ramadan you have to fast, is to try and help you to try and keep yourself away from whether it's drink addiction or even fizzy drinks, chocolate, crisps. Because even the Prophet used to say, try and eat chicken meat once a week. But we're eating meat sometimes in the morning, if not lunchtime, but definitely for the evening. You see what I mean? And that's every day. But this is the point. We need to find the right balance.
Addiction.
Eating is an addiction as well. People get depressed. They start to eat. Like right now, I bet you a lot of Americans, while watching this election, because they're nervous, they're munching down, I don't know, drinking, or you see what I mean? These
it becomes, even if you're not nervous, it becomes habitual. So anytime somebody watches something or they do anything, food is a huge part of life. I think in England, drinking, first thing that English people do when you visit them is they ask if you want a drink, sir, and then it's rude. Yeah, it's rude to reject many a times. So it's a cultural thing, and I mean, best thing to do is just stay away. And I'm happy to hear Donald Trump say that his brother told him that just don't drink. And I think if we could just tell people the way that his brother told him that don't smoke, what's the benefit? And I remember when I started smoking, was my teacher in college encouraged me. I can remember her saying that, look, give us 5 minutes. I need some work to do. Why don't you all go downstairs and just give us 5 minutes and come back in 5 or 10 minutes? Now, this was in the 90s. You can remember how cold it was back then, perhaps, before all this global warming. And we would all go down and all the cool kids would smoke. And I would be standing there with 20 people smoking around me. And I would just say, hey, I may as well take a drag. And I started on that basis. And I guess
peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure, absolutely.
That's a standard peer pressure.
But perhaps kids are now so intelligent with all this internet and iPhones and all sorts. Perhaps they don't feel the same type of peer pressure that we did.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
In the chat, we've got a great point from Astartes, who's saying Muslims who are on the left only outside of their own country and own community, of course. Is there a sense that minority groups are always left-wing when they're a part of a minority, but naturally when a country is monolithic and entirely Muslim or entirely Christian or entirely whatever it is, they will drift to the right, and the wolves will want to vote to eat the sheep. When the Muslim Brotherhood took over in Egypt, they immediately made legislation that was very unfair and unacceptable towards the 10% Christian population in their country. Isn't it the case that, this Islamophobe is obviously picked on Muslims because he doesn't like them, but every religion or ethnic group or nationality has the tendency, when they're weak and in a minority, to say, hey guys, let's all give each other a fair chance. But when there's safety in numbers and everyone's brave when they're in a big gang or when they're hiding on the internet, that they say, no, we want it to be only our way. And that's true in Muslim countries. It's true in India, where you've got the Hindutva and Modi's Hindu supremacists. It was almost true in Trump's America, but now it's maybe not true anymore. And also, even you'll notice some of the very anti-sectarian Muslims would be the Shia Muslims, because they are a minority, and they have to say, let's not talk about, and I'm not getting personal here, Mac, but I've noticed many, you having got a close insight into this community, you'll notice that Shia tend to be very against sectarianism and let's all be united together. But in the Islamic Republic of Iran, majority Shia, some Sunni people feel that they have a hard time. I mean, you pick up on that because your family are directly linked to that situation. Is that a fair analysis?
Well, they're basically swayed towards the 12 ideology, the 12 Imam ideology, 12 as you know what I'm talking about, yeah. But in general, Sunnis, I don't think they have much of a problem as long as when Muharram or Ashura happens, they're not against it, because that's the grandson of the Prophet. So as long as they're not against that event, and I don't think, because my dad was from Mashhad, and there are parts of Mashhad where there are Sunni. So his original family was Sunni, and then when he converted, was obviously. But so you will find. I mean, even the newer generation, even though it's an Islamic state, always prefer to go to their roots, which is the Zoroastrian. So a lot of the students are going back and saying, you know what, we prefer to be part of the Zoroastrian religion, which is clean thought, clean speech, and clean act. Every actions that you do.
Can't argue with that. Triple T, what do you think about people being on the left until they're a majority?
Well, if everyone's on the left, there wouldn't be any right. I mean, if everyone's on the right, there wouldn't be any left. But with your points are valid, but I think you got to look at overall how many people. I think Saudi Arabia also has some Shia, and I don't think they get treated.
I've been to the Shia community in Saudi Arabia, and it's a very minor community. They are. To be honest with you, they have to move in secret, because they have a lot of difficulties in Saudi Arabia, especially.
Some of the clerics are executed.
Yeah. Yes, we lost someone not too long ago, but the thing is, overall, I think
that's what I'm saying. When have you heard about a Sunni cleric in Iran being executed because he was Sunni? But you would see that.
Well, it wasn't because of his.
Baluchistani separatists, I think they call them Jundullah. They are often executed, and they are backed by the CIA, funded, trained, given weapons to go and attack the government in that country, and we know why. But that would be an example of a Sunni ethnic group striving for some kind of autonomy in Iran.
The Sheikh in Saudi Arabia, if I may, he wasn't killed because he was Shia. He was killed because his speech, and I mean, obviously, I'm not justifying it. In his speech, the words are very clear. He says, "I don't believe in the house of Saud. I believe in the house of whatever the Shia people believe." House of
Ahlul Bayt,
Ahlul Bayt, or whatever they call it. So that was his statement. I think rejecting the king in that manner, or rejecting the house of the Saud, got him sadly killed. So I don't think it's just a case of extreme human beings. You have that. I think every single place you go on this planet Earth, you're gonna have extreme people. Now you have millions of Shias in Pakistan, and I think majority, the 200 million that live in Pakistan are Sunni. You have millions of Shias that live there, and I think relatively there's peace around the world, but you get an extreme human being. You can meet 10 people. One of them is going to be a weirdo. It's just as simple as that.
For example, in Iraq, not just Iran, if we look at Iraq, we don't see no Sunni clerics being murdered in the way. Like, this is what I'm saying. The Shias.
Well, they don't kill them, because even the Sunnis, I don't think, the ones that are hung publicly, they're not killed for being Shias necessarily, or Sunnis. There's other reasons people come up with and say, hey, he done this, or he's doing this, and then they kill the guy. So these are issues.
It could be a governmental thing. I get it. It could be a political issue.
Yeah. There's something else that's always. I mean, I remember there was an attack on a Shia place in Pakistan, and they interviewed the Pakistanis, the Shia Pakistanis, and those Pakistanis said that we have the Shia Pakistanis said we have lived with our Sunni brothers all our lives. They would never ever do this, and they said that no, we're not. This is someone else has come in and done this. So I mean, that was good to see that they believe that. I think overall there is peace between Shia and Sunni. I think I would say overall.
Let me break down an ideology of a Shia. A Shia will always say, as long as you're saying Allahu Akbar when you pray, because we don't say Allahu Akbar, we say Allahu Akbar. We both say Allahu Akbar. We pray to the same direction. So we as Shias would say Sunnis are Muslims, but there is Wahhabism where they say if you kill 10 Shias, you don't even need to pray for the rest of your life. You can go straight to heaven. That's
but for someone to believe that,
we'd need a citation for that, Matt.
Okay,
there may be
so
people that say
I will bring you. I will send you the link to
maybe
this, yeah?
maybe there are extreme people that will say that, but who's going to accept that? Only an idiot that's already looking for some reason to attack other, and who's a wife beater, no doubt, who abuses, God knows what he does to his kids and so on. So I mean, that sort of strange person on his way out to partake in a criminal act will accept that. But I think overall, if that was said in any mosque, I think majority of the people would be like, hey, what the heck are you talking about? Those innocent Shia people. Fine, they are evil. If you're talking about there's rapists, Shia, there's killers, and if you're talking about that, then that's a different story. But no, they're just like anyone else, Shia, Sunni, pretty much the same.
I mean, every doesn't matter race has their radical, whether it's Shia, Sunni, or whatever. There is radicalism in
we can never defeat that, sadly.
Yeah. So any aspect you look at.
In the chat, CC1 is saying there is no peace between Shia and Sunni in Pakistan. Didn't you see the massive protest the Sunnis did? Yeah, unfortunately. Sufis in Pakistan united with Salafis to attack Shias.
If you just notice,
this was not long ago in Karachi.
See, with Salafis to attack the Shias, and before the last statement you just said was the Sunnis were protesting the Shias. What? So if the Shias don't have a problem, we're not protesting. But the Sunnis want to protest against us or attack us.
No, but no one
says even Sufis in Pakistan unite with Salafis to attack Shias. See, this is CC1. I don't know who this person is.
Okay,
but
I don't know what CC1 is talking about. But look, if there was a protest, it won't be against Shia, would it? Now, the protest was about something else, and it just got marred with that. It's like protesting against black people or something. You're not going to get many people. So the protest was for, I don't know, they wanted some land to be moved over there or something, and there was some Shia guy who was living there, and then before you know it.
Omar, we all know that the Tommy Robinson protest against the bringing down of the statues turned out to have a lot of racist people there that might have been against black people, along with people that were there for political reasons. So it's always blurred.
Radical people on all spectrum.
In other news, PSV Eindhoven is saying we have an alcohol van in the Netherlands from 8 p.m. Wow! But then he's corrected himself. He meant alcohol ban. I wonder if he's been driving around in the alcohol van. Yeah, I can't believe that for the freest country in the world where you can smoke weed and visit a prostitute before 8 p.m. but after 8 p.m. you can't get drunk in the street. But we can't do anything anywhere because we are on lockdown in. Oh no, guys!
Wait! No.
We've got to go. Lockdown is. I'm joking.
Happy lockdown.
But happy
Isn't
lockdown,
it on Thursday?
everyone.
Isn't it on Thursday?
Yeah, but we're into Thursday now, aren't we? It's Wednesday night. We've gone past 12 midnight. We're into Thursday. Happy lockdown, everyone.
Well, Mac was going to go shopping or something.
Yeah, Mac was going to pop down the pub.
I needed the trim. I needed the new trim.
Too late. You're going to have to wait a month now.
Do it yourself. Yeah, luckily I avoided it as well.
It's not too bad. It's still looking fresh.
Asmal Muzammil is hitting us with the fact of the day. Did anyone know that Iran was before a Sunni majority country and how it became a Shia country?
Yeah.
The Safavid. Safavid. I hope my pronunciation was good enough there. Yeah,
that's true.
I think that
this
chap is missing those days.
No, he just said it, and I agree. We both know. Julian knows it's Safavid. He know what I'm talking about. Is it?
Yeah, I never knew that. I just thought it was always Shia and became.
No. Well, there was. I mean, I see what you mean because Abu Lolo was the person that killed Omar, and he lives. He's got a shrine in Iran. Do you know about Abu Lolo?
No, but I assume if you're saying he killed Omar, he was one of Muhammad the Prophet's friends that was killed. Assume you're referring to him.
Yeah,
1500
he was
years ago.
he was a 12 Shia. That's why he would have obviously. Well,
Okay, that's
the
beyond
idea,
me then, I'm afraid.
huh? I could be wrong.
That's
I could be wrong,
beyond
but
me, I'm afraid. That's past my
fair
pay
enough.
grade.
Yeah, and Iran's weren't Persians. Yeah, actually, Iran was Persian, but it was Pars. It was
Yeah.
and because of the Arabs, then we came Fars. Then 1935, Hitler came and said, "You're not Persians, you're Aryans. So therefore, you need to change from Persia to Iran." So the name was.
I don't
given
think he was
to
around in 1955.
It was 1935.
I beg your pardon. Okay.
It was
Before he started
1935. Yeah, before World War II. You can Google it right now, and if anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, the name of Iran was changed to Iran in 1935 from Persia because of the Nazi influence.
Well, Persia sounds a lot better, if you ask me.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, Mac, you've elaborated on it before. It was because they were regarded as fellow Aryans, right?
That's correct. So
amazingly enough.
And Hitler was racist like that, and he was like, therefore, most of the countries in that, like Israel, Iraq, so he changed the main, because Iraq was Babylon as well. So he knew the history behind these three countries.
What about Mesopotamia? Iraq was also Mesopotamia, the land between the two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates.
Yeah, the whole of the Middle East was obviously part of Mesopotamia.
Well, that was the past, friends. Let's move to 2020 and let's hope for a better.
Yeah, it's 2021, isn't it? 2021 in 2 months.
Almost
exactly 60 days.
We've nearly survived this. What do they call it? Annus Horribilis. That means really bad year. Before you get confused.
What's the word? What's it again?
Annus Horribilis. It means terrible
Annus
year.
Horribilis.
And
Annus
the Queen
Horribilis.
used that phrase. I can't remember what year she described as her terrible year, but she had a time of it. Did Mom at some point, and she said, "Yeah, it was Annus Horribilis, terrible year." This has been a terrible year. It's been a great show, though. I'm going to remind you now. Get your credit card out, Mac. If you've got 14 grand, you can put it on Joe Biden, and you'll get yourself a nice £1,000 profit if he becomes president. Paddy Power, our unofficial sponsor, have got Joe Biden as odds-on favourite at 1-14. That means place 14 grand and you'll win 15 back. You'll gain 1,000 in profit. That's how much you need to lay out to get yourself a profit. Donald Trump is drifting out to 13-2. I think only the most diehard of fans are. I can't believe last night I put it out. Donald Trump at one point was 1-7. He was out in the lead. He looked like he was going to do it, and now he has drifted to 13-2. It is all but over for the Donald. If you'd hedged your bets, you would have done well. PSV Eindhoven is saying we went from Trump versus Biden to Sunni versus Shia. Well, there's an analogy for you. And Joe Biden actually quoted or he used an Arabic phrase in one of his debates with the Donald. He said, "When? Inshallah." And everyone was buzzing about it. The fact that he said, "God willing," in a sort of disparaging way, as if saying "God willing" means that you think it will never happen. But of course, that's not really what it should be used for.
I think he's quoted a few Quranic lines as well. Actually,
has he? Joe Biden, really?
Yeah,
that's going to make him
reference
even more.
The Quran. Yeah.
What did he? Well, do you know which?
I can't remember, but something about obviously he was trying to say the kindness of Islam and the peaceful. They're always trying to.
Yusuf
right now,
Biden.
The funny thing is, if we talk about a certain people, then we're anti-Semite. Then if we talk about, for example, about every other person except Islam is okay to be talked about. You see what I mean? Every other religion or any other religion can't be attacked except. But this is
what? So what, Mac? That there's always been someone, so we just need to get the heck on with it, really. There's always going to be.
I don't understand. why do people think that they can take charge of the situation? If someone's, for example, got a picture of a prophet, what gives them the right to go and think that they can, execute the person? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm very sad at the death of Samuel, but yeah, but more so because he was trapped. Maybe he was just doing his job, and it's very nice for him to say that, look, students, if you don't like this and you're gonna feel offended, please vacate the room. And you're gonna get an extreme fringe.
Yeah, that was respectful, actually. That's a very respectful way of.
And he didn't deserve that. And I remember when I went to school, Denby High School here in Luton, the Jewish teacher that we had, Mr. Shrimpkin, his name was, he would sit on the Quran to make some point. He would say the Quran can't do anything. This is in religious studies. He would sit on the Quran. He would put the Quran on a chair and take a seat on it. He said, "This is nothing. It's just a book. This is nothing." And I didn't, we were young kids. We didn't think of doing anything of that nature. But I suppose we must have felt offended. But subsequently, years later, I heard that because of that, the kids stormed out. And in fact, one child stormed out, but he was blocked by the teacher. And I think there was a bit of scuffle what I witnessed at one time. But the guy was asking for trouble, and unfortunately, you get it. But with Samuel, he wasn't. He was just simply doing his job, and it's a tragedy that took place. And I wonder about the Chechen kid. I think that it was that killed him. I wonder what's going on in his life beforehand.
Where is he getting his information? Yeah, what religion was he? What sect?
Well, it wasn't about religion. It was about, I feel offended. How dare you do this? And he just came to stab him. It's not really.
This is where from a long way away.
This is where the Quran quotes, "To save one life is to save a whole humanity, and to kill one life."
Yeah, but that's not even the. Yeah, but the kid probably didn't even know that statement. He's not. I've never met a Muslim that's read the Quran. I've never met a single Muslim in my entire life that's read the Quran.
I agree with that.
So,
well, no, there are.
So he doesn't. Why would a kid read the book? It's a very tough book to read. It's not an easy book. It's a historic book, and it's a lot of hard work to put into
linguistics.
The Quran.
Linguistics are very difficult.
Yeah, and to live by and to understand it the way that it should be understood. But at the same time, with Charlie Hebdo, I have to say
that. But can I just say?
Yeah.
You can get verses of the Bible. I mean, even though Jesus said, "If you slap me on this cheek, slap on me," but there are verses that says, "Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth." Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what that means is be merciful when you can be merciful, and take an eye for an eye when needs. Because if you don't take an eye for an eye, then people are just going to carry on doing whatever they're doing. There's never going to be any sort of justice. But the problem with Charlie Hebdo and that organization and freedom of speech, the problem there is what people don't understand. Freedom of speech is non-existent. It's only existent and this is why, and this is where the term comes from, is the right. Now, hundreds of years ago, we had no right to critique and many countries, especially Muslim countries, they can't criticize the royal family. And as you may know, or the government, as you may know, I performed poetry, and in Saudi Arabia, when I was there, I said, there's one of my poems. There's one of my poems which is, "Oh, government of Saudi Arabia, we ain't scared of you." And that poem kind of goes like that. The moment I said, "Hey, government of Saudi Arabia," the announcer, 100 miles an hour, ran to the stage and grabbed the microphone. And he said, "Please don't." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Even on the iPhones, we don't want to take any chances." And I said, "Yeah, fine." I think that time Jamal Khashoggi was, had just, the incident had taken place. So, but point is, what they are doing is they're looking for a reaction, and they're going to get it. It's as simple as that. And I live my life based on, look, just even if something is true, then, if it's going to hurt someone, why say it? Let people be as they are.
The thing is, there's Hartoon and a guy called David Woods, and he's creating Quran. And the funny thing is, he made a Quran and he put holes in it, and he made it look like Mickey Mouse, and he sent it to Hartoon. Yeah, it's quite funny. But
yeah, if you
this
analyze
is that kind of action. This is where I see it's how they're trying to say they're hypocrites, and how they want to basically that the Islamic people are very aggressive and they're not. But at the same time, how are you not being like, you're contradicting yourself? You're going there with the Holy Quran with holes in it and with a picture. How is that not that's a form of provocation in itself?
yes.
So I'm not saying but it's a hate crime. That she shouldn't be able to do that in the first place. I mean,
if I carry if I like Khatun was carrying the caricature of the Prophet, and the thing is, if I was to do that, if I took any sort of like religious type thing issue, I would expect to get attacked. And
yeah, but the thing is, what's funny, it's contradictory, bro. She's saying, "Oh, Muslims, we love you, Jesus loves you," and then at the same time, you're approaching it with a provocation. You're showing up with like the Muslims aren't come. We don't come and burn the Bible, or do you see what I mean? She's taking that extra step at the same time, saying, "Oh, we're doing it peacefully," and she's rubbing like this is what I'm saying. Her action in itself, if you analyze it, she's a contradiction, because she's saying she wants to make it peaceful, and Islam's not peaceful, but yet she's doing everything to provoke someone or a reaction, shall we say?
With respect, there's nothing peaceful about that woman. She comes to, I mean, that's the story of life. Look, if you come to cause trouble anywhere, wherever you go, whenever you step outside, if you're looking for trouble, you'll find it. It's just around the corner. It's as simple as that. I think religion's really got nothing to do with it.
You know, her and
Trump looks like he's winning.
Yeah, he is. Do you know her and Tommy Robertson had a little thing with rendezvous? Was it last weekend or weekend before?
Yeah.
Tommy Robertson showed up. Yeah, last Sunday. So yeah, I mean, these people, they're there to provoke, and if like Muslims aren't doing, I mean, first of all, whether the Quran or, I don't feel that any book should be burnt or sat on or disrespected, even if the book doesn't have any like form of goodness, but you can still gain like, you can't judge a book by its cover in that sense. But I personally think any book shouldn't be burnt, whether it's religious, non-religious. It doesn't make sense.
Well, personally, I don't care if you burn any book. You can burn a book if you want, or leave a book, or read the book if you want.
Salman Rushdie's book is fine. He has a freedom to say Salman Rushdie with his book, even though Khomeini did the fatwa. I think Salman Rushdie should have had the freedom of speech. That's not a provocation. That's his ideology and his.
I disagree. Opinion. I disagree respectfully. That book, what he wrote, vilified and said and stated terrible, satanic, untrue things. Yes. And if I was to write a book about YouTube,
have either of you read it?
I don't believe in it. I have. I've looked into it, but I don't believe what he says. I'm just saying he has the right to an opinion.
Have you read it?
No, yes, I have read the book, and I can tell you it's a horrific and very unusual book. But anyway,
you don't have to agree with it. But you don't have to agree with it. But is he not entitled to an opinion?
No, if it's gonna insult me, and if it's gonna insult whoever those people are, and some people, especially someone's religion, then you don't have a right to write a book. You can probably write a book about a person, and if I wrote a book about YouTube and it sold and made a lot of money, YouTube would sue me and say this is completely untrue what he's saying. This is untrue. So if you're doing it for a religious and just as a provocation, then you shouldn't have a right to cause trouble. It's not freedom of speech. It's freedom of hate. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a hate crime, basically.
Yeah, it's a terrible book. It's absolutely strange. And the things he wrote about the Queen, he wrote terrible things about the Queen, and apparently English people are involved in incest, and he just a horrific, strange. That was a strange book overall.
Wow. Asmul Muzammil is saying, "Dear Julian, I was one of your first 100 subscribers. Thank you very much, Asmul. We're happy to have you still here. I don't agree with some of the things you've said, but I'm happy that you were able to say them." PSV Eindhoven saying, when you're born into this world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. If you're born in America, you get a front row seat. That's a quote from a great quote from George Carlin. Yeah, front row seat. Wow, man. Well, we've had a front row seat tonight. Final check. Joe Biden is still 1-14. He's all but home and hosed, and I look forward to hearing his victory speech. Let's hope that we get. Well, I hope we get 4 years of Joe Biden.
Give up on the Donald so quick. I wouldn't give up on the Donald so quickly. He's a multi-billionaire. This seems to be a lot of.
Do you not think he's gonna, if he's done as far as he's gone to do the, they tried to impeach him from earlier. Do you know if he does lose, apparently that he's gonna do some, time in prison.
Mac, you're gonna like this. On the screen, we've got 11 people watching. We've been going for 1 hour, 10 minutes. We're going to drop out at 1 hour, 11 minutes and 11 seconds, okay? I'm going to try and hit the button at the right time. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, we had an extended show. We've gone on
11 minutes
11
extra.
People, 11 minutes extra. We're all brothers and sisters. That's from Spooky Dog. Final comment of the night. This has been
all love.
Lessons for Life. We'll do it all again soon. We were here and we're gone.